Nikki, I guess just that first half, and particularly the second quarter, was it Fordham taking stuff away? What was the offensive struggles in that first half?
Well, they, honestly, like when we didn't handle it, they started to really amp up denial on the wings. So they were denying our guards, but they were playing our posts really, really soft. So they were basically daring Liz and Queen and Kate to shoot it. They were 2 feet in the paint, and then they were denying really hard on our guards on the wing. And we just didn't have enough composure to, kind of take what the defense was giving to us. They baited us into taking some bad shots early, and then I think the biggest thing that they did was their pace. I had told them going into this game that this is a team that plays fast sideline to sideline in their half court, but they play slow end to end. So they don't worry about how quickly they get into actions, but once they get into them, they're flying around from sideline to sideline. So I felt that they controlled and dictated the pace of the game in the first half. They lulled us into like walking the ball up the court and taking our time into actions and standing around and looking at one another. And so I thought that was as much of it as anything. We allowed the officiating, the physicality, to get in our heads. So that was pretty much the second quarter struggle.
Smoke.
Uh-oh.
Smoke, I think you're muted.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me
There
now?
you go. There you go.
That's what happens when you're old, this technology stuff. Sorry. Is Queen still kind of trying to figure out this role with her as far as what she's doing offensively?
I think in general, the tough part was we got her a lot of touches in this game. She just didn't aggressively make plays. I mean, you've got to make quick plays, and this is a game where arguably they might have been more physical, but she had the quickness advantage. So making a quick move, spinning off people, things like that, she wanted to shoot the jump shot. I think Queen is more than capable of making a 15-foot jump shot. I absolutely do. But I think you got to go get a layup first. I think you got to separate. I think you got to get something easy in transition. You got to get an offensive rebound. And so some of it's just like effort driven. Like how hard are you willing to work to get yourself going? And so I thought that, she wants to be finessed too much. And in this game, she needed to play with a little more power. She needed to play through people, draw a foul, do some things like that. So yeah, I mean, you could see against smaller opponents, she's had some games where she's put the ball in the basket. But it really comes down to her just playing a physical game. It's the it's wanting to rim run every time. It's wanting to separate off of step ups, we're going to get her the ball if she'll screen and separate. Just like we get Liz the ball. So, I mean, it just comes down to her getting a better feel. I mean, I ran a baseline play to get her a shot and then she turned it down. So, trying to get her going so we have better balance. But I think you saw the capability of us to have balance with our perimeter players, to complement Melissa when Queen isn't putting the ball in the basket.
Eric.
Coach, just in terms, I know you talked about that second quarter, then how big was it to kind of see that immediate response with the 21-6 run at a halftime?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we obviously, I don't know if people realize how late we were out of the locker room, but I had a lot to say. So, there needed to be some things said. And, my challenge to them was look, let me coach you, you just play. I don't need 5 coaches on the floor. I don't need people telling me what they're doing. I'll tell you what they're doing. And if you'll do it, good things will happen. We guarded consistently. We gave up some offensive rebounds, but man, our defense was really good in the second half. We just didn't give them any clean looks other than a late slip on a pin down. And so I thought from a game plan perspective on a short prep, we did a really, really good job, but offensively, I think putting the ball in Jordan's hands as our point a little bit more early, she was going to make us run with her, you know, and I think us getting some easy baskets in transition, you know, some kick out threes, extra pass to a three, all of a sudden when you get the inside outside game, now they can't kind of load up the way they were in the first half. So we just had better balance in the second half. Everyone got involved.
Jerry?
Yeah, Coach, this team is kind of led by lists a lot, but how good was that to see those guards really? I mean, they were the ones who moved it there in the third quarter in particular.
Yeah, well, and they look for each other. They made the right extra pass. You know, I even thought a big play for us was K-Mac driving and hitting Kate at the top of the key. You know, it's simple basketball. It's making the right play. It's not trying to do too much. It's just trying to make the simple play. You know, I thought that was key. We got the ball on the baseline. No one's been able to guard our step ups all year. So when we attack in the step up, we got Liz the little elbow shot, you know, more in a rhythm. Rather than her questioning, do I shoot it? Do I not shoot it? They're not guarding me. I'm looking at them. You know, sometimes people don't realize the hardest shots to make are the ones where they disrespect you and basically say, I'm not coming out, you know, and it's when you catch it in a rhythm and you know it's a good shot and your feet are set. So it was just kind of that balance of our guards really attacking the paint, making the drift pass and the extra, driving it, kicking it in transition. But it was all, you know, it really started with Jay Lou. I mean, Jordan really got us going in transition. And then all of a sudden they were all playing faster.
Smoke?
Nikki, you've had the road trip to Maryland, which obviously tested you and you learned from that. Now you're on the road on this longer trip. How much can camaraderie and kind of getting to know each other even more on the road like this help a team down the road when you play road games in the conference?
Yeah, it's funny. Like you know, I've learned before teams can have great chemistry off the court and don't play worth a dang together on the court, you know? So I never, you know, and you can have teams, I've had teams that, you know, didn't love one another, but man, they knew they had respect for one another. And when they hit the court and laced them up, you know, they'd make the right play. I think in women's basketball, there needs to be some balance. But I just think getting games under our belt, like, you know, they asked me on the radio, part of the difference, you know, in us being better in second half so far, it's not surprising. It's kind of like I've tried to tell everyone how we'll be better in March than when we are in November. Everyone has a slightly different game plan against us, you know, and almost every team we play has nothing to lose. And so, you know, they're willing to say, okay, we're not going to guard Alyssa Smith at the 3-point line. Like we're going to sag in and stand on the logo and dare her to make plays, you know, and we're going to double on the dribble. This was a game that they double team when you started to dribble. And like, you know, so everybody plays us slightly different. And so part of getting better is learning to make adjustments quicker, you know, so it doesn't take a halftime speech to say, hey, we need to do this. We need to do this. We need to do this. Like they've got to make that adjustment coming out of the first time out when you're saying, all right, you guys, they're playing soft. I told you, you know, based on the Michigan State game, you know, I thought they were going to play our post really soft and dare them to shoot. Now they got more aggressive on our wings than I thought they would. I didn't think they'd have as easy a time like denying Jordan or Jamie the ball, you know, but it's a challenge to them. Like, hey, you got a back cut, you know, like you've got to make simple plays when people play you a certain way. So, I mean, I think that's the adjustment. That's the biggest adjustment is learning to play together, but learning that different teams are going to do different things against us. And these guys will all tell you that are returners, at least the ones at Baylor, they have 4 plays, 4. You know, and that's all they ran, and they ran them all the time. And so they knew the intricacies of them, you know, they knew, you know, what was next if something didn't work. And so everything we do is different, and we still screw up plays. Like we just still absolutely, you know, 4 people run the play right and 1 person runs the play wrong. And it's like, it's not gonna function right if the spacing isn't right, you know. And I told them in a timeout, hey, I'm not trying to get on people. I'm not trying to yell at people because you forget a play. You just have to understand that when you screw up a play, you screw up the spacing, you screw up the timing, you screw up the ability for the action to work the way we need it to. And so there's just some of that. Like I'm always in, what can I add? Well, how are we going to take advantage of this? How can I get Liz in space? How can I get Jamie off the screen? How can I, you know, and I always have to slow myself down and say, okay, we don't even know the plays we got so far. Stop putting in more plays. All it does is mess them up. But that's just how my brain works. I want to say, oh, they're back. We've got to have an overplay play. We've got to have this action. And so, slowly and surely we'll get there.
All right, Eric.
Coach, with these 3 games in 3 days, how helpful can that be in terms of, seeing how this team reacts to that kind of quick turnaround tournament style?
Yeah, I mean, it might actually be good for us. Sometimes players hate all the preparation. And I will say this, I give our guys a lot of credit because, we came back from Maryland. We were off on Monday. We had about an hour and 20-minute practice with no practice guys because of the Thanksgiving break before we left. So we really just kind of worked on their pin down actions. We had 1 hour here on the court, and I wanted to get shots up and get them moving. And so, I think when we talk about our next opponent, Arizona State's very good, but, but from a preparation perspective, they're the opposite of Fordham. I mean, they're 5 out. They don't run a lot of things. They just pass and cut and pass and cut and pass and cut, and they're going to challenge our post that they're always going to be guarding on the perimeter. And so, but they don't run 47 plays. Like Fordham sounds like a football team, like red 27, and then they call a number, and then, so they have a million different actions, and they have a lot of rescreens and a lot of inverted stuff. And that's a challenge, that's a true challenge. And Arizona State presents a different challenge because they're incredibly physical and they pressure the heck out of you, and they'll pick up full court, and they play 10 players, and they come in waves, and, like they're kind of wild, but in a good way. I don't mean that in any kind of disrespect, but like, so they bring a different challenge. So, I think that's what's good about this. Do we challenge ourselves to like turn around and say, okay, if we thought we got pressured in this game in the second quarter, like that's about to go up like 100, against Arizona State. So that was good for us, okay. We took on that challenge. We got better in the second half. Now we got to be better from the tip against Arizona State, because I can promise you they're going to be just as physical and more so.
All right, thanks, guys.
Happy
Thanks, Nick.
Thanksgiving.
Too appreciate it, Coach.
You got it.